Welcome back. Hey, Chloe, how you doing?
Chloe, we're here.
She's a bit distracted. Hold on.
Is there any reason why she starts each of these parts distracted or anything? Or should I take that as a no, then?
There you go, Jova. There you go, Jova. I hope you like that.
That was a question specifically for you.
You see, Jova.
I'll tell
you.
Okay, so now we can actually finally watch the Detroit short Zlatko. So let's see how Zlatko. This takes place before we find his house. Yeah, there you go. It takes place before the story of the game, right there.
Ooh, that's be interesting.
It's not, but you'll see.
Resident Evil, we get it.
To be fair, this could look at like any other horror movie mentioned.
Wait, that's an ostrich.
Somewhere Capcom a few because.
It's the usual horror cliche trope of having something that's normally cutesy being played to an unfitting scenario to make.
I honestly think the best example.
Sung by children.
I honestly think the best example of this was Dead Space 2 with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Cradle and all, yeah. Even Final Fantasy 13 did this for Orphan. Not even kidding. The track for Orphan's Cradle is literally called "The Cradle Will Fall."
I don't even remember this part.
You didn't see it.
You didn't see it, Shiro.
This is a short. This is not part of the game.
Oh, okay.
We're just seeing pieces of a mansion. It's not even that.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly why it's not interesting. It's literally just this. Like they bothered to. They wasted money on this thing that doesn't tell us anything.
David, what I appreciate that you're not barraging us with jump scares. You should at least try a bit more on the horror angle. Give a bit more of a tension vibe.
Also, what sense does it make to have that android just walking around as it is? Because in-game we see that they're not allowed to walk around free, so what gives?
I don't even know. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it, I guess.
Shot in-game engine, and I could care less.
Wow, this game is already 1 year old.
I guess the only thing is that, that's a spoiler as to his true nature, and yet even still, that wasn't much.
That's the problem, it's 1 year old, but it feels...
That was totally worth saving for the game. Anyway,
so I gotta wonder, was that good marketing for the game?
Well, the show, this game, well, Jova, this game is the best-selling Quantic Dream game, so it must have been. Zlatko is the descendant of an aristocratic Russian family. And who fled the country at the time of the revolution in 1917. The family fortune was severely depleted in a few generations, resulting in a large house falling in ruin, and the memory of Zlatko's family glorious past being the only thing left to his name. Having led a troubled and degenerate life, he quickly squandered what was his legacy and spent a few years in jail for the investment and fraud. A dark and disturbing character, Zlatko has always been passionate about androids. He buys them at a cheap price, then repairing or improving them, quote-unquote, by altering their physiology. He attracts deviants by making them believe that he will help them escape, which is just a trap to capture new prey and blah, blah, blah. So there you go. That's the backstory that we never get to see. I hope you enjoyed it.
Fievel really got bad with the years.
I love how the bio literally has to call him a dark and disturbing character.
Pedro, I have to give a little bit of a history lesson.
What?
When it says the revolution of 1917, basically, the Russians had enough of their royal family and killed them all.
Oh, okay.
Dweebs, I will save that for when commenting on the Anastasia movie, because I want to reserve the intro of that movie specifically for a history lesson. Just trust me on this one.
Well, I just gave the Cliff Notes version. I learned it off horrible histories.
Well, even if you watch something like An American Tale, that's precisely the beginning of that movie. It's a Russian family that is to escape the country towards America because of that.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, David, when you have to go to call your character, hello, close up.
Go ahead, Jova.
David Cage game, Jova.
Go ahead, Jova. What is it?
David, when you have to call your character literally dark and disturbing in the bio, and that's pretty much all you say about it, something's wrong here.
Again,
it's like calling your female character a strong, independent female woman. It's usually said in story as a mocking of that.
But
or it's more like the writer trying to reassure himself.
But Joe, what about South Park Elementary's vice principal, strong woman? That's our actual name for the for the record.
Yeah, that's done tongue in cheek.
That's done for laughs, yeah. But the point is, no, that's again, like I've said before. You can have character bios, but they need to add extra detail, like in Inokuni 2, not the full-blown backstory of the character.
Again, this story would be so much more interesting if we actually, included more about this bio stuff. Like, again, bios are like you said, they're good for extra details. But the way this game is using bios, it's like, well, this is how they actually seem to tell the actual character.
Most of the story is told to us in these bios because the actual in-game cutscenes, it's just the characters kind of bumbling around, doing nothing.
You know what this is? This is essentially.
Wait, how did we lose trust?
Because we said something she didn't like. Basically, Dwebs, Amanda's, if we don't give her the answers she wants about our investigation, she becomes suspicious of us.
I wonder if she's secretly one of the bad guys.
No, what do you think, Jova? She's a corporate leader. Of course she's an evil person, Jova.
And here I was thinking David just might be able to avert that trope.
Jova, you're giving David Cage too much credit there.
Yes, I am.
Way too much.
But you know what this game is?
Hold on, RA9. Let's see what she has to say on the matter.
You came very close to capturing that deviant.
Okay. No, you haven't answered the question.
You just completely, David, sentence structure. You don't have characters immediately just change exactly what they're talking about mid-sentence like that.
I'm starting to think David Cage is somehow related to Carl Ball. Like, I don't...
Who?
Hold on, I'll tell you later.
We need to stop this, whatever it takes.
I will solve this investigation, Amanda.
Bit of irony on watching a PS4 exclusive.
Look at what a good boy Connor is.
The only way you could be any less subtle is if you named her Amanda Waller.
Bit of irony on watching a PS4 exclusive from me Switch.
Basically,
Also, Dweeb's not fat. Sorry, Jovan, she's not fat enough. Sorry.
Lately DC seems to have had an obsession with skinning up Amanda Waller.
Yeah, I know. Continue, Pedro.
No. To make a long story short, Carl Ball is a guy who who thinks of himself as a good speaker, but he is terrible at sentence structuring, and he desperately needs lessons in dictated speech, because whenever he's trying to get a point, he rambles on so incoherently and for so long, it's literally unbearable to listen to him. Like, and that particular problem that Jova was putting out, that was borderline Carl Ball-esque. Like,
that was
seriously.
Really
Anyway, we reached Jova, Lieutenant Anderson's house.
Of course.
So let's see if he opens to us.
I might show you a bit of his later on after we're done with this.
You know what's a major problem with this game?
What?
This game is a wikia, essentially. It's essentially a Wikipedia page. Like, again, you learn most of what you need to learn by reading, and not in the sense of like a visual novel. It's like, well, you gotta go to the bio.
Shiroi, Teo, doesn't this sound familiar?
I would argue that there's even less gameplay here than in Final Fantasy
XIV. Well, that goes without saying, Teo, but we're talking about the actual story itself being in the text,
I would say that it's a bit more comprehensible here.
You
don't get a villain with an incredibly convoluted motivation.
True.
That could be just by doing nothing.
That depends. I mean, in 13, we did eventually learn... To be fair to you, in 13, we did eventually learn the terms with or without the data log.
Connor has his moments.
Yeah.
Where are you, Hank Senpai?
Again.
I'm sorry.
Right round, baby, right now.
Again, I refuse to believe. I absolutely refuse to, especially me, because I have gotten to a point where I can tell David Cage writing just within half a second when I hear it or see it, and I refuse to believe that David Cage wrote this storyline. I refuse.
I mean,
there's no way.
Where he actually had co-writers.
Like, for example,
Yeah.
Okay. Let me give a very easy example, Joe. Everything that comes out of Ank's mouth, for example, I refuse to believe David wrote any of that because it actually sounds like something a human being would say. So no, it cannot possibly be the David Cage writing. It cannot be.
I wonder, is Hank about to do something?
It's kind of like a similar thing with The Visit, where I refuse to believe that Shyamalan actually wrote any of that because the people in The Visit actually talk like real people instead of exposition dumps.
Let me guess. He downed some pills and tried to kill himself.
Very good.
Oh,
and we're also going to learn here why.
Doggo.
Hey, Sumo.
Pedro. Let me guess. Let me guess, Pedro. Hank's gonna get angry that we didn't let him die. It's like that guy.
Surprisingly not.
Also, Jova, interesting trivia. If you didn't, if you didn't learn the name of a dog by checking Hank's desk, Connor would actually be surprised about a dog and will just improvise in tranquilizing him.
What actually happened, Wibbs?
That is a bit of a neat touch.
What actually happened, Wibbs, was he's not he didn't pass out because of attempted suicide. He just passed out because of the alcohol. He was playing Russian roulette while doing it, yes, but it's not because of the Russian roulette that he's passed out. All right, let's imagine his heart is still beating. There's a slight arrhythmia, but there's no signs of trauma. Let's see what else.
He just got very drunk.
Choices of alcohol, specifically Scotch whiskey.
Yeah, I honestly think this is a good representation of how was I after Fairy Prince Raph ended.
Yeah,
really.
I think in the space spirit.
Yes.
You didn't have a dog to comfort you,
or an android to wake you up like this.
Oh.
That's what you need to. You need to get your own personal Connor model.
Oh. I need more drunk and Clancy Brown in my life.
Well, I was right about him being angry.
Well, he's
plastered with.
We've gone through this, Dwebs. He's the angry, frustrated cop.
And Jova, believe it or not, we're about to get David Cage making fun of one of his tropes now.
Surprisingly, no, Teo. Remember, I refuse to believe David wrote this storyline. Unless we have some kind of proof.
I believe that, but here's the thing: he allowed them making fun of his to go through.
Allow me to remind everybody that David Cage had 2 additional writers for this game, unlike the previous ones. So I am still absolutely convinced that David did not write this, particularly Hank's dialogue. I refuse to believe it.
I'm not going to like it.
Unless we have direct, complete, undeniable proof, I will continue to deny it.
Jova, I give you the shower scene.
That's right. There you go.
I ain't taking no shower.
Wait, did Connor push him, or did he just fall back down?
He pushed him.
Well,
he's trying to wake him up from the... There you go. We subverted the shower scene trope.
Let's have an obligatory shower scene.
Well, hey, this time it's a shower scene that actually helped.
I just want to hear.
Good thing.
Consider yourself lucky that way.
Leave me alone.
Pragmatic. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Listen, Lieutenant.
Uh-oh.
You should beat it. You hear me? Get the hell out of here.
Whoa.
Take it easy.
Okay, I guess I'll leave.
Like, when you've been drinking, no sudden movements.
This homicide.
Uh?
We know about it.
Yeah, reverse psychology always works.
Downtown. The report says that an android.
Oh, let me guess. Autoerotic asphyxiation. Usually the tragedy in sex clubs.
Yeah, life on Mars to the. Sorry, not life on Mars. Ashes to ashes to the.
I take.
A
Jova,
guy finds himself. A guy finds himself in a sex club.
I take. Sorry.
Asphyxiation.
I
All right,
take.
Jova, we're about to play Dress Up Clancy Brown.
And before you ask, Jova, no, it's not cool, sexy, or.
Of course it's not that stuff. Holy cow, if they did that, we'd be in trouble.
Well, I don't know. Men can dress in a way that's sexy for women too. I mean,
yes, they can. But Cage, do you really want that under David Cage's pen?
True. Yeah. All right. So, what do you want to wear?
Whatever.
Hippie, strippy, or streaky? And before you ask, it doesn't matter. It's just for cosmetics purposes.
Still, though,
Go hippie.
I'm gonna go with streaky.
Streaky.
I don't know, Dibs. When I think of Hank, I don't think hippie. And especially because I hate hippie culture in general, so no, sorry.
But that's why it's fun having dressed in. That's what
it's a shame that we don't get to have a preview of what each outfit looks like before choosing it.
Sorry, Dibs, but I cannot stand hippie culture, so.
I mean, it depends on what the clothes look like. Again, it's a shame that you can't get a preview of what each one looks like in full.
Sure. I wasn't talking about the clothes specifically, but sure, yeah. I agree.
Jesus.
All right, so while we wait for Hank to get dressed, we can actually go through his apartment and see what we can find. See.
Oh, the president is a woman.
Just you wait, Jova.
Just you wait until you see who the president is, Jova. Anyway, Autumn Blues.
Female version of Trump.
Autumn Blues. No, don't worry, you will see.
You're close though. You're close though.
Hank loves jazz.
But of course.
Oh, hey, Sumo.
Well, remember, Jova, when this... Well, actually, did it? No,
Hank loves jazz again.
I'm worried about jazz.
There's Sumo.
Sumo, he's cute.
He's a good boy.
Every big boy. Wonder how he'll react to an android's touch.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. Cause, yeah, it's a Saint Bernard. He probably doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, Saint Bernards tend to be very lazy and
docile.
Surprisingly.
Well, unless you get them mad.
Well, that applies to any animal. So.
Yeah. Just watch.
At that point, you're just asking for it.
Just watch.
Hold on. This is important.
What
we're about to see here. Oh, hold on. I forgot about the Russian roulette thing. Here you go.
It's still important, but.
Question.
Question.
The way he said that.
Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, why the fuck do you ask?"
So what else was I doing with it?
Yeah.
So it turns out he was lucky that they passed out.
The
next shot would have killed him. Basically, Dwibs, Hank lost the will to live, but he doesn't have the balls to actually pull the trigger properly, so... Yeah.
Apparently...
he decided to get very drunk first, put the alcohol...
And we're about to find out why, Dwibs, so take a look.
Time for foreshadowing.
Is that a son?
Very good, Jova. Guess what happened to him? Deceased. Exactly. Hank lost his son, and ever since then, he's become, well, what we see now, basically.
No wife, no son. Yeah, that's a real big bummer.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
Well, I actually think that's a good look for him. So, yeah, let's go with this.
Oh.
Sumo, please make sure to have the house tidied up when I get back.
Oh, and Sumo, make sure you've... Oh, and Sumo, could you finish the development?
I mean,
by the time I get home.
I mean, sure, let's not forget, in the Disney's Peter Pan, Nana was a Saint Bernard.
Yeah, I remember that. Also, like I said, in Heidi of the Alps, the grandfather has a Saint Bernard.
Yeah, but don't you mean Saint Bernard?
No, dude, we pronounce that differently.
Bernard sounds like it's bloody French.
Also, it sounds like you're trying to say it in a posh way.
Yeah, Bernard.
Yeah, thanks.
But
Jesus.
yeah, Hank lost his son. What an incredible... So basically we're ripping off Ethan's backstory. Good job.
I mean, it was only a matter of time until David... Well, actually, David...
Considering how supposedly Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain are in the same continuity, supposedly with each other, it wouldn't be surprising if these two. Remember, Jova, Beyond Two Souls, as in the bomb chapter, you can see someone in the newspaper talking about the origami killer.
Yeah, and we
was ever mentioning that before.
And not to mention, that's the thing too. Like once again, such a
goody, another Markus
it's time for the heist.
Such a generic tripe backstory as well.
I don't know if I can cope with David Cage.
The Cage verse is real, guys.
Okay, so yeah, let's go infiltrate the CyberLife warehouse and steal some biocomponents and blue blood for ourselves.
Woo!
Like again, as an incredibly painfully unsubtle allegory to that we're going to steal. Like we're going to, if you don't give us what we want, we'll just steal it from them. All that stuff.
Am I the one who feels like we don't know Jericho enough, whether or not to know whether or not we should feel sorry for him?
Don't worry, Jova. Just go read the bios of each of the characters, and you can know more about them.
Not only that, Jova. Remember, this is technically the first heist for everyone. Markus has inspired them to do this.
And with this far into the game...
Here's my problem, though, Theo. By inspiring, you mean he just openly suggests... openly suggests them out of nowhere, despite not knowing any of these people, because he just got here. And they literally go, okay, I believe you. Just in pancake style. Like it's literal. I really wish Just a Pancake would make a video about this. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love his Kingdom Hearts videos, but I really wish he would take his style of parody to other games as well, because this game is just right up for it.
I agree.
But and also considering he's a Sony MP, instead it just wish me I was playing instead as like Cooper game.
Because guys, CyberLife.
To give a comparison,
for some
granted, it starts a bit more with 2, but in the Sly Cooper games, the gang organizes heist in almost a scrupulous, meticulous way. They plan each single step. They have multiple briefings with slides and everything, and they decide which things to do, sabotaging the enemy's key places before performing their heist. It really does feel like a proper heist put through and through. Here, it looks like barely an act of vandalism. It's just a bunch of teenagers just running around.
Since I was the one who primarily talked about how David Cage's portrayal of this revolution being so black and white is terrible, I'll let Jova do this one next. Jova, how about we talk about how it was so incredibly easy for Markus to rile up the other androids to revolt against it. Look at this. Like, all he did was just tell them, oh, by the way, why don't we just go to the warehouse and steal them? And they're like, but we never done this before. We'll do it. Like, we just have to try. It's better than just stay here to die. And then North immediately goes, okay, I'll go with you. Okay, I believe you. Like, I
really have to wonder, how big an organization is Jericho? Like, well, there's all these androids who tell us about Jericho, yet there only seems to be a few on that ship.
Right now, Joe, they're a ragtag bunch of mischiefs, but don't worry. We're about to get in this chapter a reason for their numbers to increase.
But again, here's my question then. How do so many people know about them if they're just a ragtag? Again, it's like a Zocco. How were people able to get the word about when no one's really gotten out of it? How are there so many people who know about Jericho when they seem to just be a ragtag team, and even then a ragtag team that is slowly dying anyway?
Plot holes in a David Cage game. It's like finding water in the sea.
I love how as soon as we end the Connor segments, we immediately go back to the story being Swiss cheese.
Exactly. That's because the Connor Hank storyline is the only one that has some kind of humanity and entertainment value to it. But
again, let's go back to another thing I hate about Marcus's segment. What gameplay is there really? It's just you looking at all these different outcomes that you can't even really try.
Until I found the correct one, yes. It
would be neat if they actually let you try some of the wrong ones to see what different story segments you would get. No, they only let you do one alternative, and it's not like you're puzzle solving. It's literally just look over here, look over there, just keep looking until you get the absolute right thing.
It's okay. How about this, Jova? To continue my point, though, we'll use MLK as since David constantly keeps wanting us to compare it to MLK. Didn't MLK manage to rise up to his movement so easily? It was so easy, wasn't it? It was literally just getting to. Oh, by the way, we should do something to fight for our rights, and everybody was like, okay, we believe you. Yeah, I totally believe that's how things work, right? Like it's that easy to convince people to put themselves in danger in that way for a greater good.
I mean, it really started off as the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. since he was a kid, and went on until he was an adult for a good reason.
Yeah. It's, again, David, allow me to remind everybody, and check his Twitter if you don't believe me, it's somewhere in May 2018. According to David Cage, he spent 2 years studying revolutions, researching. You are the worst study I've ever seen, David. Like, how do you spend 2 years researching this topic and still represent it this badly?
And again, you know what I hold? I hold that the only reason that this game is the best-selling Quantic Dream game is because of all the different choices. Because that's the only thing I really hear people talk about positively still this day. Like, most times
that's the only positive
talk about the negative qualities.
Well, except for the graphics and the music, that's the only positive. So yeah.
And Hank's story.
Yeah, and true, and Hank and Connor's story. Yeah.
Let me guess. We're going to convince this android to join us.
Yes, Atridge Jova, this is the chapter where we introduce. Atridge, not just that, Jova. It's in this. It's in this.
Look, hold on.
Yeah, it's now.
So
don't worry, Theo. Don't worry, Theo. I've got it.
What's this?
Notice that white color on the end, Jova. Basically, Jova, out of nowhere, now Markus has the power to turn androids into deviants just by touching them.
No.
There's no explanation for
I know what you're gonna ask me, Jova. How? How did he get this power? How does he even know how to use it?
Not to mention,
he just has because he's Android Jesus, I guess. I don't know.
Not to mention, the implications are kind of creepy. I know that deviation is seen as freedom from the condition of
being slave,
being slave, basically in this case. But essentially, what Markus is doing and he's gonna do right now because he potentially do by basically freeing androids just by touching them, can be actually no different than brainwashing when you think about it. Especially
since they don't do anything to.
You know what?
Especially because every single android that gets
touched by Markus.
Touched by Markus immediately follows his cause. He doesn't just decide to do their own fucking thing. They immediately follow him.
You know what? You know what other work of fiction did that, where you touch a guy and you turn him into whatever.
Almost every single sci-fi thing, including any revelation to the Borg.
Well, there's Terminator Genesis.
True.
Well, no duh, but yeah.
Remember at the beginning where Matt Smith...
And look at that, a bunch of other fresh androids. Markus seems to be having an idea.
You know what's been interesting, though, is like, well, maybe have this be the reason why everyone agrees with him, but no, they were already deviants. But yeah, I mean, that's the sort of thing. It's like, well, being a deviant doesn't seem to be automatically a good thing, at least with what the story is showing us, not what the story is telling us. No, what the story is telling us is that being a deviant is one of the greatest bits of freedom, only when you think about it, is being a deviant really always that good? Like, we've seen that androids can be good people, even when they're not deviants. Like, Connor isn't a deviant. And
Markus was a good person before he became a deviant.
But anyway, Jova, you may not notice, but thanks to his contact, it's basically a passage of data. So when you think about it, Markus is kind of like spreading a virus that basically corrupts the program and gets them deviated.
The only possible explanation I can think of.
Trust us more, isn't that great?
The only possible explanation I can pull out of my ass is that it's a feature that androids have, but that explanation doesn't make any sense because why would the humans program the androids with that function?
No, remember, Connor had the hypothesis that the androids instead receives a bunch of conflicting data at the same time, which makes them basically have conflicting programming. That makes thanks North. That makes them basically act this way in a pay limitation of their quote-unquote emotions. But now what I was saying, Java, you didn't notice, but it's spread by contact. and it's transferring data, so it kind of functions like a virus, Jova.
Yeah.
What have we heard so far of something that may be an element that may be the harbinger of the deviants, and they're treated kind of like of a religious figure, if you don't remember. No,
Yeah.
RA9. Basically, my entire theory is that Markus is RA9, and he can pass that. The problem instead relies on why him. How did he get that instead?
It makes
because it's not like he's particularly special. If there was like a prologue scene where we see that Kamsky created specifically this model with this quality, that would be partially explaining. But we don't. Markus is literally just a literal who.
He's Android Jesus.
Why exactly he's the host of RA9 is beyond me.
Hold on, Jova. Let me recap what's going on. Basically, the android that we just turned deviant told us that there's a giant truck full of biocomponents and blue blood that will make sure we can survive for a long time. So basically, how...
Did you hear the door open?
No, because no, I didn't, because I'm dumb. It's basically it's however it's dangerous, and the reason North was against us going is because it was too dangerous. We could be found, but Markus said specifically, and I quote, "If I'm not back in 10 minutes, just leave without me." Basically, go ahead, Jova.
Yeah, so just gonna say this right now. What if that android who was a guard liked his life before he was a guard? Because we don't know about it unless the bio magically tells us that he hated his life.
Well, too bad, Jova, because after this chapter, he disappears from the game altogether. So
wait. Even though we're allowing him to join with us, he disappears?
Yeah, he never actually shows up in any scene anymore after this.
So superficial choice, technically, then.
Well, actually, no, Jova. Regardless of what choice is it, well, then again, I haven't experimented that much with this chapter, so maybe there is a way you can. I'll have to get back to you on that. Go ahead.
Also, do I get points for caring about which of Jericho trusts us? Because it seems like every choice, someone just trusts you more, or someone trusts you more. Like,
well, it's because
story in any way.
Well, to be fair, Jova, that does make sense because Josh is the more peaceful type.
No. I get that. What I'm wondering is like, well, with how much the game is hammering it in, will those actually matter? Like, I know it matters with stuff like Hank, but will it matter with the Jericho members, seeing as how
only with North, because if you end up pleasing North a lot, she will become Markus's love interest, because it wouldn't be a David Cage game without an unnecessary and contrived romance.
Don't you see, Pedro? Androids can love each other just fine.
No, I'm fine with that. There's been plenty of sci-fi works that have done that kind of stuff. The problem is...
No, I mean, that's literally the only reason to show it, and not in the sense that it's actually, fleshing out the world more. It's just so David Cage can show off.
Sure.
Oh, God. What if he actually has android sex?
After Jova, android sex works in the way that they touch their hands and they have sex.
Kind of like Avatar, just without the tentacles.
Wait.
I was thinking more of Fern Gully, but yeah, that works too.
Well, to be fair, we never confirmed that was sex, though. Then again,
well, that's the thing, Jova. Here's what's gonna happen. Well, actually, you'll see the scene for yourself anyway. So whatever. When we get to the sex scene and by sex we mean they literally just put the palms of their hands next to each other and their hands go white. And
so it's Vulcan sex again.
And after that, North becomes our lover because. Basically, when androids do that, they see each other's memories completely. It's a way of them accessing. Oh, and check this out, Jova. This is the driving section where all I have to do is hold R2. Look how good I am at the Detroit Become Human. That's when you know it's good gameplay, right?
Just when I thought it couldn't get any more scripted than Beyond Two Souls, they go ahead and do this. Again, what is it with this game? Like, in some ways it feels like, an improvement, but in other ways it feels like a downgrade.
At least in other ones you can have a conversation with the person in the car.
The problem, that's the thing, Jova. David Cage cannot take one or two steps forward without taking as many steps backwards in the same process. Anyway, right? So yeah, we stole the truck, so we're victorious. We have a shit ton of biocomponents that will last us a lifetime.
Wait. How do we get the truck over into the boat? Remember the route to get to there?
Joe, I got the answer for you.
We use allow me to.
No, the thing is, we could just park the truck outside in the docks and just pull the crates that we needed in the boat.
Hey, Joe, I got the answer for you.
He has a point there.
There's one problem with that, though. Remember the way Markus had to get in, though? It's like, well, that was the one way in.
Bipedal, not with a vehicle.
Hey, Joe, I got the answer for that for you.
What?
Shh. Yeah, exactly. Shh. You. Shh. Get.
Such an inspiring speech.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing. Another thing that makes this all the more unbelievable is the fact that David Cage's idea of an inspiring speech is terrible. Like, look at how bad this dialogue is.
I have a question.
Like,
where did this side of Markus even come from? Like, it feels like Markus became a different character all of a sudden. Like, I mean, okay, maybe it's because he wasn't a deviant before, but I'm sorry, where did this whole leadership quality all of a sudden come from? Like,
Jova, these androids, they are people.
But Jova, what if MLK was an android?
I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I'd have an easier time believing if Norf started out as the leader before him.
It's interesting you say that, Jova, because
I don't even like Norf.
It's interesting you say that, Joe, because if Markus dies at any point in the game,
yeah.
Norf takes over the leadership of the revolution.
But let's just say that she's not really good at it.
Nah, you think?
How much does he suck?
Well, okay, the basic point of it is, well, here's the thing, Jova. Since you're the one playing Markus, you can choose whether or not Markus will be a violent revolution type or a peaceful protesting type. However, Norf in particular is the violent type. If she becomes the leader of the revolution, she will immediately start an all-out war with the humans, basically.
And that probably ends to them getting decimated.
Exactly, very good, Jova. So yeah.
Again, though, I'm not buying this because Markus did not feel like he earned the whole leadership quality. I mean, don't get me wrong, Markus was a nice guy, but nothing about him that suggested leadership or all of his speech giving. Like, I mean, hey, you know what will make more sense is if his owner used to be like a big speech giver and showing that his owner washed off on him, but he's never really showcased any of these qualities whatsoever. Like, if you want to make a character like that, make a character, but don't morph your character to the point where it's a mutation.
Mm-hmm.
Or are we supposed to believe that he learned all that philosophical stuff while he was down in Robot Hell?
Yes. Maybe you read his bio. Maybe it's somewhere in there.
Alright, well, anyway, we'll see you in the next part where hopefully we'll get past all this stupid... we'll get past the stupid cyber Braveheart stuff.
Oh, well, Dwibs, in the next part, we go with Hank and Connor, to a sex android place. Yes, there's...
One's a couple, the other is an android. Can these relationships work?
Basically, Jova, in the future, we have androids for sex, so there's no more prostitution.
I guess that makes sense.
All right. See you, everybody.
See you.
Yeah.